Hello, everyone. Welcome. Bienvenidos. We're going to start our session today in our cultural talk. So thank you for joining us for this unique experience, for continue your support to the Weavers of Cusco. And as always, we really appreciate your interest in joining our events here at CTTC. As we wait for a few more to join us in this Zoom call, I'll take the opportunity and share some announcements. My name is Diana Hendrickson. I am one of the board members. This month, for a few days, we're gonna have a Black Friday sales on our brand new online store in our website. So if you're interested in some Christmas shopping, and you want to continue to support the Weavers and enjoy some unique deals as we launch our new online store, please join us. Elizabeth is going to share the link to our store in our chat, so you can find us there. You'll also get it in an email after this event. We are also amidst our Christmas season, and here at CTTC, we have the Christmas chocolatadas. For those of you that don't know what that is, Christmas chocolatadas happen every year around Christmas. It is a tradition in Cusco, in the Andes of Cusco, where not only our weavers and their families and children participate, but we also invite all children and young adults from all 10 communities for some fun, some games, some Christmas celebration. They also get to enjoy a hearty cup of the famous Cusco chocolate, hot chocolate, sorry. And then at the end, all children and young adults receive a gift, like a type of toy as their Christmas gift and Christmas celebration. So it's a very wholesome, heartwarming celebration. And if you're interested or feel compelled to help us carry out these Christmas celebrations, please consider making a donation to us. Elizabeth, as part of our team, is also going to share a link to that donation campaign in the chat. So if you feel compelled, we'll really appreciate it. All donations, the small or big, are greatly appreciated and help us reach our goal. Well, finally, right before we start and before I introduce our renowned speaker here, I just want to ask that everybody please keep their speakers off so that we don't have any interruptions. And at the end of the cultural talk, we'll have a few minutes for our questions and answers. So if you have anything in mind, please write it down and we'll be happy to answer all of those questions and in comments at the end of the lecture. So here, as you see it right next to me, is Nilda Cayañaupa. She is a renowned advocate for indigenous textiles and the founder of Centro de Textiles Tradicionales del Cusco, also known as CTTC. She embarked on a transformative journey after being inspired and motivated by an ethnobotanist and anthropologist that moved to Chinchero during the 1970s. Her commitment to the revitalization of Cusco's textiles has not only made her an award-winning author, but also a passionate advocate for indigenous textiles and arts. Currently, she serves as a board member and the director of CTTC. And her dedication and commitment stands as a testament to the impact and contributions that CTTC makes to the Cusqueñan weavers and the remarkable revitalization of ancestral textile practices in Cusco. So without any further ado, I'll let Nilda take over the cultural talk and begin her presentation. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Diana. Good morning and afternoon to everyone, depending where you are. Thank you very much for joining today's presentation, and I will call sharing of our All Saints Day, which basically 2 days. The Day of the Living and the Day of the Dead. Día de los Vivos and Día de los Muertos, which is November 1st and November 2nd. Next, please, Mark. It will be a great pleasure for me to share with you the traditions of the All Saints' Day. Our country, Peru, is very much divided in 3 regions: coastal area, Andes, and jungle. I am located in the Andes, so in this case, my focus will be of the traditions in the Cusco region, to the Andean region, where we still maintain many of the traditions alive. When I talk about traditions, we are very much carrying what our ancestors left us as that. Of course, as we know, it's in constant change, movement. The culture is like that and had been like that, and sometimes faster than the another ones. And we are trying to preserve what is meaningful for us. Since our ancestors, we could say Incas or pre-Incas, our loved ones who has passed away, had been treated like in the life, with a respect and love. They had been buried with the best clothing, prepared, or if they have in their life, jewelry, food, tools, whatever they would need to continue after their life. Sometimes with miniature figures of the humans, animals, representing or accompanying them, and then representing them like in their normal life. In this case, the figurine of the Inca period to the left is Capacocha, which was found with the mummy of Juanita by Johann Reinhardt. But these, our dead loved ones, they had been buried in the important sites called Apus, which are our sacred mountains, where it was different from today's cemetery in the past. So the Apus, our loved ones who passed away, they have big connection with our very important sites in the Andes. Next, please. Preparations for these celebrations starts months ahead, weeks ahead, in advance. Few days before the November 1st, we will get excited, all the families, especially children. That was my case. You know, if our parents get wheat to make bread, if they make bread, we are looking after that, you know, so we can prepare our wheat breads to share between our families November 1st and 2nd. Everybody gets involved according when they are going to plan to make their breads. All the families will go and prepare their bread. Ovens may be not used during the year or used few times per year will be start with the fires to be used to cook the breads and the lechons pork to be shared on November 1st, which is Day of the Living. Next, please. Some youth, students, children, they become to be very excited. In this case, in one of the communities, Patabamba, this group of children from their classroom, they decide to do fundraising by making their, what is called the bread. I will say the bread dolls and the horses that you have to prepare from the wheat flour, and some also cookies. They will make themselves with the help of their parents, and then they will sell on the November 1st and the 2nd. It's so fun, you know, it's fun for the children to do this. by themselves manage their things, and at the same time play around, joke around. Maybe the goal is not to make fundraising so much, it's more sharing. Okay, next, please. In Cusco, in the city of Cusco, well, most of our markets will be full of the vendors of the antawawas, which is bread dolls made with a mask, horses, and cookies. Every family, or most of the families, will attend to these places to purchase since end of November. And they have to have ready for the morning of November 1st. Okay, next, please. In the Cusco city, it's very famous Bautismo de Antawawas, which means is that they order to make huge bread baby, and then that's what they call baptism. They make as a joke, also can serve as a fundraising. So students from many institutions and young groups, they prepare this event. And all classroom students also. But they make these huge breads, and then with a mask, and they will assign a priest, a person who is very funny, who can make as many jokes as they can, and he will baptize, he will make this event. And also they assign parents and even godparents who will assume most of the expenses. So it's such a fun event. After that party, they will start the party with the food and drinks and dancing. So that's what happens in the city. Next, please. During the day of the living, okay, or even days before, they will prepare in the communities these altars, okay? They will make kind step altars where they are going to place their offerings for their loved ones who passed away, who are going to return to this world. Their spirits will return on the November 1st for lunch. So these altars has to be built up and then prepared. White clothing is used for the single people, and the black cloth is used for the married people who passed away. In the past, we had used many textiles, and usually textiles especially made for that occasion. In this case, I would like to share with you, even though it's changing so much of this, but there are still some textiles in our collection, permanent collection. These pieces, black pieces woven for the altars, offering altars, with the sections, which you are not going to notice, with the sections of the what we call yoke-in, left twist yarn, and paña, right twist yarn, making these different sides of the lines, which means counterclockwise and counter-clockwise twist, Z and S twist. Double yarn, if S twist S, they will be applied to the Z, etc. These pieces had been used in the altar. Plain clothes or bayetas, which is plain weave for the skirts and the jackets, are used. And even in some cases, they're using normal clothing materials and maybe even plastic, depends on the families, okay? Also, In some place, like in this case, in Chinchero, they used to have mourning mantas. The colors varies from the everyday mantas and the fiesta mantas. It's based in the grays, blacks, and white, a little bit of the colors. So if the person who passed away, they are going to make the altar for her offering, they might put it, if the weaving was done by that person, they might put it in the textile, in the offering altar, this piece, or they will just make the altar with it. But as I say, today is changing so much, but this is part of the manta of Chinchero, morning manta used for those occasions. In this case, it's from another community, a poncho, morning poncho. Especially for man, the altars had been done with these ponchos, or even part of the altar or placed next. As you can see, dominates all the dark colors and a little bit of the colors. Unfortunately, these textiles have been used by the jackets of factory-made shawls. Talking about ponchos, in Chinchero also, they have used this morning ponchos, with a little bit of the grays, white, and blue sections. Basically, dark browns, black, as a morning pieces, but also as a dark cloth in the past. Today, these pieces form part of the CTTC's permanent collection pieces, okay? In the areas like in Pitumarca, will be my focus today for my presentation. They will use still until today this uncuñas, the coca bundles. That in that region, coca leaves are very precious leaves to share, to have. And of course, all the loved ones, they have used these uncuñas to keep their coca leaves. So this will be brought to place in the altar, but also to be shared, whatever they are going to take to the altars, and to give back to the visitors for that reason. So that's what I can share a little bit about the textiles. And now I will go back and share with you, keep sharing the PowerPoint presentation. So please, coming back to the altar, the white cloth, like steps shared and tied with the ropes. And the another one on the right side is already prepared, the altar. Okay, next, please. During the day during the day of living, or even before that, depends how many family will get organized for this event. If you have extended sisters, brothers, of course, you are going to collaborate and make your altar very quick. But like in this case, the generosity of Concepcion from Pitumarca is making possible to share these images to explain, maybe in a better way, or to help me to explain. So in this case, Concepcion is preparing the first year altar for her aunt, Marta Chuquichampi, who never had been married, and she was handicapped. So in her last days of her life, she lived with Concepcion's family, and she passed away on the first year of the altar. In this case, Janet, who is our education coordinator, she told me that Concepcion had husband and 2 children, and her uncle, or the brother of the person who they were preparing the altar, that's the only one. So they had a lot of work. And I talked with Concepcion like months ago, and she says, yes, She is prepared. She is going to prepare, and it's quite exciting, sad, but will be so nice to have the spirit of, her aunt. So that's the altar prepared before the noon of the living day, which is November 1st. Why? Because we believe that by the noon, the spirits of the loved ones who passed away, in this case, her aunt, whose first year, very recently, will arrive to share the lunch with the family of Concepcion and others. In my case, the same thing. We think my father comes for lunch, so you get prepared your lunch, your offerings, the table, everything before noon, because even children, we get excited. Okay, my uncle will come, my grandfather will come, my mother, whatever, whoever family, you start imagining, when it's going to be the soon and when the spirits will come. And there is all kinds of superstitions and stories, how they arrive. So, but you should be prepared for that. So that's the altar, November 1st, already prepared. And in the next moments, I will be talking what contains the altar, okay? So please, next. This is the door of the cemetery of Pitumarca. This is the day of the dead, okay? And this is when happens, this is the morning of the November 2nd. What happens in the family of Concepcion and many families? They die the night before and after the midday of November 1st happens the visit of their families and relatives, friends, neighbors, visit to pray in the altar for the Martha in the previous photo where we have seen. And then the Concepcion or the family will offer drinks and will offer food and will offer also presents. But the visitors also will bring what they say is basically not cooked food. So potatoes, corn, wheat, fava beans, whatever they like to bring to put it in their altar. So this morning, this is just a getting on the November 2nd opening, so the families can take the offerings from the house of the families to the cemetery this time. It's a lot of work, especially when they don't have a lot big families. For the couple of the small families, there is so much they have to take from the altars, from the home to the cemetery. Next, please. This is how look like the cemetery, okay, in Pitumarca, or the holy site of the spirits. Depending who you ask, what happens with the spirits of our loved ones, we don't know in which moment they will go to the cemetery. Some of them, they will say they will help to take in the offerings to the cemetery. Some of them, they say, no, they just go very early. That's why they try to arrive as early as they can to the cemeteries with the offerings to prepare the altar, okay? Next, please. In the altars, what they will place. Food, most important is what they love it, what they enjoy, what they like it in the life, our loved ones who passed away. That includes, food prepared for them, the special food, fruits, food, uncooked food, like, as I mentioned before, special breads, candies, drinks, and many of those, please, we'll be seeing more clearly. By, I don't know, depends of the family, by the before noon, 10, 11, 9, depends how much help they have, the altars will look like that. Altars will be placed on the top of the tombs of the loved ones. And today they place their photo. And they could place also not just for a recently spirit who passed away during that year. Also, they could place the photos of their ancestors or their parents who passed away or their families, relatives. They placed photos. In the past, what they placed? They placed their textiles. They placed their tools, the most representative things for their loved ones. So today you can see many photos because, you know, the globalization will bring this to be accessible. Okay, so the altars, please, next. The altars in the cemetery from the homes, they have to be moved. They have to prepare again the stepped ladders with the cloth, with the black cloth for the married ones, with the ropes they will tie, okay? If you have family, they will come to help you, many gentlemen. Meanwhile, maybe the woman will be cooking to take food for later on, and that's how it starts. Ropes play such important role here. Ropes are made from the llama and alpaca fibers. Next, please. In this case, Concepcion, her husband and son only prepared her altar over on the top of her aunt. Okay, next, please. Placing the offerings in the altar, you know, they start from the top, they come to the bottom. In the bottom, usually woman prepares with uncooked food or cooked food, and they will go down. The white cloth you can see in the bottom, but also by the photo or next to the photo, you can see the black cloth with the cross sign. That's, they say, sent it from the Catholic Church by the mayordomos. Mayordomos are the people who are nominated to serve the church for 2 years. Okay, and the next altar to the right is already kind finished. Okay, you are going to see, and we are going to see from the flowers to the onion leaves, to the pan de guaguas, you know, the bread made, the horses, and etc. Okay, next, please. This is the Concepcion's uncle who came to help. You see a lot of the leaves of onions, green onions, okay? Why? They say the spirits of our loved ones cannot drink in the cup, cannot drink in a glass. All the drink offerings you put, they need these straw types to drink in that liquid. So in all the altars you are going to see, and I don't know where they get all these leaves of the onions, very special ones, especially thick ones, to drink that. Also in the middle of the onions, like in the second floor or third floor, you can see the dry meat. Dry meat is the one of the survival in the Andes. In all the houses you will find of the alpacas or cows or the sheep, okay? You can start finding, because she was woman, you will find a lot antawawas, the bread dolls, because, you know, that. You will see in all the parts that antawawas, the offerings. You will see a lot of fruits and like that, okay? Under the, it's hard to see, but under the bananas, well, the passion fruit in a ceramic plate, there is a flour prepared, all kinds of flowers with the sugar and a little bit of tea mixed. That they say is in the life, when you die, You know, always you could leave some loans that you might and that you didn't pay, or you could even you could have offended someone, or you couldn't say, you know, sorry about that before you die. They prepare that flour, they say, and there is eggs also. With that, they say the spirits will pray and will get, you know, pay their loans. Okay. Um, please keep. Thank you. Next. So here is the part of the altar. You will find in the altar, since the little bottle of holy water and drinks, you know, that in the life you will have. But the most important part here, Concepcion, she just placed a dish with 2 guinea pigs, with the hot peppers, stuffed hot peppers, rice, and many. That's what they call merienda. That's a special dish in the very special occasions, like weddings, birthdays, and that. Since the spirit of Martina came back now, Concepcion prepared her special dish. Also in the bundle, she has many types of corns, fava beans, potatoes, the tubers, etc. Okay, next, please. Here you have more details of that: Coca-Cola, beer, of course, flowers, soft drinks. You will see. Next, please. Here, sharing, you know, that lady brought to the Martina an offering. Also, Concepcion is receiving and giving back. Maybe Coca leaves, she's giving back. Okay, next, please. Chicha, the barley chicha will be shared with everybody who comes to the altar to pray. Next, please. This is all kinds of altars you will see with all kinds of things. Not all the altars are really the same, depending of the family's organization, how they are going to do their altar. Also depends the altars, if it's first year, second year, or the third year. The third year, the farewell party, the farewell altar has to be more delicate preparation, because that's last year they're going to do the offering. Next, please. This is how look like the altars. As I say, after they finish the preparation of the altar, women can go back and bring food to share with the people, with their families. And that's maybe in this case to the right, only the sons are sitting there after this altar, and the left side, there is an altar for the woman, and the top there, the parents of pictures, like that. So in this time, it will be very much to share a little bit of action that I would like to share through a video, short video. So here you can see how many people are coming and going away. In some altars, they're already sharing. You know, in some altars, they are still building visitors going from one side to the another side. Also, it will show you the landscape around of that, you know, and the Holy Land. And that's that. So to give you a little bit of that action. Now coming back to the video, you know, and seeing the altars. Next, please. Now I'm coming to more fun part, and maybe I have a lot of remains from my childhood and how fun was this ceremony. First of all, to start, it's very sad day, because you remember all your loved ones who are going to come back to your home and stay with you that night, November 1st, you know, with you. So you put it a lot of candles and you talk about that person. And even you go to the private place and you talk with your mom, your father, or whoever you are remember that moment, and say, you know, welcome to home. Here we are, we prepared, please, see us how we are doing, even, tears, crying. Sometimes you remember good moments, you laugh, etc. So it's very connection with your loved ones in the spirit and you in the real times. And if you are like sick, or if you like to, ask a favor or whatever, you will do that. But children will look this, with the sadness and also with the happiness, because there is going to happen many opportunities for children. And in this case, in Pitumarca, those baby dolls that they make from the bread with the face, they will wrap with many blankets, baby blankets of their mothers, of their sister or whatever. In the past, they were wrapped with the blankets. Today, with the factory-made baby blankets. And they make like these huge babies, and they carry, and they go in groups to the cemetery, and that's where they will fly around. They go in groups, and they will take their bundles. Inside of the bundles, the baby bread, okay? So that's about this group of the young kids. Next, please. What happens? They go to the cemetery, and the boys, they get together about the same age, depends, who you get together. And then you are going to try to steal, to take away from the bundle, the dolls. So that's what's happening here. They are laughing so much. They went with a purpose. You could be unhappy because you are going to lose your baby doll, but if you are going to be exposed there with your group of friends, of course the boys are going to come after you, and they are going to try to rip you out, the baby. Okay, so that's the action, what's happening in the cemetery. Meanwhile, the parents are drinking, having chicha or beer, and having food. The children are just free flying around. Next, please. This is what happens as a result. The baby doll of the bread had been taken away from that bundle. To the right in his arm, you can see half part of that bread. In the left side, you can see another part of the baby. So he's so excited and happy having that, laughing after the girls. And the boys are after him, and the girls are laughing there too, unhappy, of course, sometimes, Next, please. And here, the group of the boys having fun, taking away the baby dolls, and they are going to share, getting in parts. But it's not having the bread. It's more having the fun, how precious this group is, and how energetic was that to get their goal of getting the baby bells. They're proud about themselves, okay? In the coming ones, I would like to share some short videos, so you can have opportunity to see the action. This is what happens with these boys, They go in groups, and they just get the bundle. You don't see unhappy face, the girls are laughing, and they're trying to defend themselves, but, they can't. They're pulling out on all sides, So, even the parents, mothers are looking, they don't go and defend their daughter, they don't, they are over the tombs, in the cemetery. So that's the part of the children actions that they take, okay? So they're flying around, they are laughing, and parents will go by the sides, but they don't do anything, because that's, if you don't like to lose your baby doll, then don't go to the cemetery. This is the next video of what happens after the midday of the death. The mass takes over Catholic Mass over around 11, finished around noon, okay? And all the dishes will be taken away from the altar. But the most important part here is this gentleman with a plastic manta is taking all the unprepared food, corn, fruits, fava beans, bread that they brought to the altar as an offering. Where he's taking, he is one of the mayordomos of the church, and they are supposed to take to the church all this food from all the altars to be shared with the orphans or with the people who needs them. So they are going to be, there are many of them collecting at the same hour. After this, what's going to happen is the food, if they have big family, will arrive and they will just be shared. They will start drinking until late, it depends of the families, etc. So these two gentlemen to the right are collecting that, and they are going to make sacks and sacks of that and take to the church. That's their obligation. That's the way how they share. So they say nothing should go back to the home. What happens with the spirit of the loved ones? They are supposed in the altar share as much as they can spiritually, drink, eat, as much they can. After the mass comes the farewell, kind of say they pray and they say goodbye until next year. That's how comes the end of this. Okay, so could you please repeat again that video, because the ones that I don't know if we have time or not, but it's very fast and it's very short video, but I would like. So this is the connection of the life of our loved ones with the next one, please. Oh, you could do that. So this is the part I like most. This is the happy part. Now this is the way how that lady to the right, they are moving the food, prepared food, and the lady is helping and the gentleman is cooking. Finally, they are going to take away the altars, wrap the cloth and go home in the afternoon, in the evening. The night before, remember that they had been all night celebrating already with the loved spirits in the home, okay? From the home, they moved this offering. So the guinea pigs, the lechons, all the food will be shared. And that's how we'll end up this. Okay, thank you very much.
Hi, everyone. I'm back. Well, first of all, I'd like to ask if anybody has questions at this time, so you can start sending them over through the chat section. You can also turn on your cameras. And I just want to say thank you to Neil again for such an incredible presentation. That was super interesting. And I think it's part of our living culture. Textiles, the weavers, every single one of us still takes part of these traditions today. So now we're gonna move into a little question and answer section. If anybody wants to share their question personally, please raise your hand in the bottom section. You should have reactions, and I'll be able to unmute you if you need that. If not, you can also send your questions through the chat section. So that we can read them, read your name, and we can start. But as we wait for that, I already have some questions prepared as I was listening to Nilda's presentation, because it was super interesting. So my first question to you, Nilda, this time is, with the fast changing times, everything changes through times. How are modern elements blending with traditional practices during the celebrations?
Well, when you do this, you do from the heart, thinking in your loved ones. You think what he or she used to like, but also, whatever you can find, like if they like Coca-Cola, probably to my father, for example, he used to like bread, all kinds of bread. So try to get as much as you can breads, pastries or whatever. If they like beer, put it beer. But also, you know, the modern things, you know, that they were appearing, or some things they were not using when they were in the life, today you place with the love. That's how it's woven, this modern world with the past world, and like that.
Awesome. Thank you for that. We have a very good question. We have been answering through our stories in Instagram and Facebook, but yes, this lecture, this culture talk is being recorded. So all of you that signed up and paid for this lecture will receive an email about 48 hours after with the video recording, so you can watch it again if you're interested. Okay, so let's go into the next question. So in your opinion, Nilda, what role does this celebrations play in fostering a sense of community or cultural identity for these people partaking?
The ones who passed away or the people on life?
People alive.
Okay. The people on life, this is the moment of union, I will say. If you have, let's say, 7, 8, 9 brothers, maybe it's the first year or the last year of the 3 years of the altar preparing for your father or mother or both. Usually it's for one of them. It's, you know, you gather together, you know, you talk, you plan what's going to be your position. If you are in Lima, when you are going to arrive to Cusco and go to your community to take over this celebration or these offerings. So you might say, I will put, you know, I'm not going to be next to you until the day before. I will send money. You guys buy the fruits, buy the things. For the cooking, woman will be in charge, man will do the altars, all kinds of preparations. Who will make the bread? What type of bread? Who will bring the this and that, you know? And also your neighbors will know that your mother passed away or your father passed away or your relative passed away that year. So they know you are expected to prepare the altar. So if you are part of the community, you are going to think, okay, that friend I have to visit, this family I have to visit. I have to go a little farther. Maybe I should go during the day, and then my neighbor will be, so to my neighbor, I will go after midnight, like morning. So all kinds of that. Pitumarca streets are full all night. In the houses, they will be preparing like chicha, ponche, taste, and like that they will serve you. So you are with full stomach walking. And also they are thinking for the next day, what kind of preparation. So it's all community participation. There is now one house without that participation.
Thank you, Nilda. That was very interesting. Libby, did I see you raise your hand?
Maybe unmuted. Hi, Levy. It's you are. I'm glad to see you.
Oh, I unmuted
She was
myself.
one of the first members of the CTTC as the Frankimons.
It's wonderful to hear your talk, Neil. It was a fascinating, very interesting talk with lots of things to think about.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I did have a question somewhere back. I have to think what it was.
Oh, that's okay. You can raise your hand when you're ready and we'll get back to you. No
All right, I did
problem.
have a couple of questions. Yes.
Okay. Great. Okay, let's see in the chat section. We're getting some thanks. Okay. So we have a question from Thais Gomez. So she'd like to know if the name of the bread with the mask face, please.
It's called Wawa Anta. Wawa is baby. Anta is bread. So it's from the components of the bread you build up like a baby. And horse, Wawa Anta, the baby of the bread or bread baby, is for woman, for female. horse is for the male. And in the altars, you will see sometimes, like in the woman's altar, you will see the horse, one horse usually. They say that's after midday of November 2nd, they take over their horse, the spirits, and they fly away.
Great. Thank you, Nilda. I think, yeah, those breads are very special. And even adults, as we age, we still want to receive our special bread, whether it be a horse for a man or a little doll for a doll for women. So I have another question for you, Nilda. While you were doing the research and you were looking at these pictures and videos, did you find something that was surprising or lesser known from when you were a child or what you used to practice before?
You know, the altars, you know, in this case of Pitumarca is very special. We don't do that fancy or that expensive, the altars, because for the altars can be very expensive if you don't have relatives who has a lot of money. So usually they sell their animals months in advance. They sell their textiles. They talk about, you know, I have to do this, and now I need money. So all kinds of preparation come. For me, from my childhood, I will say it was fun because in the altars you put it everything and you wait until next day, midday, that your parents are going to decide goodbye to the loved spirits, and then you share that. So you are looking the altar and say, I would like to try that one. I never tried. I like that one. I like this one. You know, and they, of course, you have the temptation also that you could pick up during the night until your parents are drinking or having fun. But now you are not supposed to, because the spirits of your loved ones are there. And so they scare us, the parents, and say, if you do that, you know, really bad stories. So you have to respect that altar until next day. So it's fun. I like that they build and they put it as much as they can, of course, because I don't put it in my money when I'm a child, you know. So it's fun, you know.
That's great. It's great to hear how children is so fair around with this. So this celebration is not just for the day, but it's also for the children, for the adults, for their whole family. I think that's very heartwarming to see that even after passing, we're still together and celebrating together. We have a good question from Mary. Thank you, Mary. Yes, we do offer more tours and in-depth for about textiles. We are planning on doing more lectures, and next year, actually, as a little hint, we're gonna have some lecture series coming up. So if you're interested in learning more about textiles and the culture, please consider joining us. But we also have textile courses and workshops that we offer here in our center and in our center in Chinchero. And we are starting with some more experiences and tours related to textiles and the culture as well. We also have two museums, one here in the city of Cusco that we'll see later on, and one in Chinchero as well. So we do have more opportunities for anybody that is interested in coming down, visiting us, visiting the weavers. We will be more than happy to host you and have you here. So I have one last question from my end. So in what ways do you think this All Saints celebrations that happen throughout days and preparations continue after this date? Are they still relevant in our everyday life?
Yes, I would say yes. Even though it's changing, you know, because today there is not any more tombs for some families, especially in the cities, because we have the another options to be done with our dead body, you know that. So in that case, still you will build up your altars, even though you are not going to go on the November 2nd day of the dead people, you know, to the cemetery. At home, still you will prepare your altars. Even though in the modern children, they don't like to do much more of that. But for my age, in the community, it's very much respected and done. I'm not going to talk a lot about the religion because this is a mixed religion. I think so the origins of the celebrations comes with the connection of the spirits of our loved ones who passed away and with the real life. Today, the celebrations with the altars goes, and also there are mass in the church and in the cemetery. So it's very much mixed in that sense, and sometimes to separate one to the another, it's not fun, actually. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Nila. I'm not seeing any other questions. Do you have any other questions? Yes,
Okay.
Libby. Okay.
I just want to say, Diana, it's wonderful to see you. I knew you as a child, as you remember. And that was such a joy. You were a wonderful kid. It's nice to see you now.
Thank you.
I just want to, I know that you mentioned something about where people came, where the dead came from different places to the ceremony, and that would be interesting if you have more to say about that.
And the spirits, where they come from?
Yes.
And they come from wherever we are. In the Quechua worlds, we say from the huge spiritual land. In the Spanish, we say del cielo, no?
Oh,
Cielo is
The sky,
heaven,
so the
heaven,
and sky.
you know?
oh, I see.
And that's so, maybe they're in the Apus, in the spiritual place. We don't know where they come, but they come to the homes to
Thank
visit
you.
their families.
I want to also say that I think it's just a wonderful thing that you do this in terms of when people die, that you can keep them so close this way. And I wish we had some ceremonies like this here in the US. It's another wonderful example how communities in Peru, indigenous communities, have special events and also celebrate nature, which I also appreciate.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Libby. It was
Okay.
It was nice seeing you as well.
Yes, I will talk later.
Yeah.
Thank you, Nelda.
Thank you.
Thank you, Barbara. Thank you. I would like to thank you to, okay.
Thank you.
So we're not saying goodbye yet. We have one more question in the chat section from Mary. So she's asking, the number of steps on the altars, are there 5 steps? And is there any significance to that number?
No, actually, I asked it about that. Usually they put it 5 or can be 3, even can be 1. But as much as you build up, there were altars also with 7 steps. So depends of the family, basically. Okay.
Okay, so I am not seeing any other questions or any other people raising hands. Let me check one more time. Just to make sure. Oh,
No,
Barbara.
Barbara.
Thank you so much, Nilda, for doing this.
Okay, Barbara, go ahead, please.
How do we get to the store?
Oh, okay. So I'm going to ask Elizabeth to share the link again. We will also send the link to the store, to the new online store, as well as to the Chocolatadas fundraiser. So you just go ahead and it works very similar to Amazon or any other websites. If you've shopped online before, you'll be able to see the sections where we have apparel, we have traditional revitalized techniques, we have accessories and more. And if you at any point have any questions and want to contact us, I'm also gonna have Elizabeth share our email so that we can tend to you. So I don't see any other questions. We're gonna close the cultural talk, but I just want to say that we do have a private shopping session for those that signed up for the trunk show before it was canceled. So just if you want to participate in that, or if you're in that list, just stay in this call. We're gonna do the switch, and I'm gonna go to the store and I'm gonna lead you through our museum and do some light Christmas shopping.
Can we also donate there? We're
Please.
to the wonderful project for the kids. I mean, celebration for the kids.
Yes, please, if you do feel compelled, we're trying to reach $10,000 this year so that we can reach all of them
Oh,
and give
that's
some
so
decent
great.
presents.
Chocolatos, right?
Yes, the
was-
chocolatadas, yes.
It's
Well,
a wonderful,
thank
it's
you.
a wonderful idea to have that. So to give kids chocolate drinks and things and make a celebration for the kids. It's great.
It is, and it's very unique. Yeah, I know Nilda
It
has
is.
more anecdotes from that, but I remember them from when I was little in Chinchero as well.
Oh,
Making my line to get a cup of hot chocolate and getting a
oh,
present. It didn't matter what it was just fun to play around, and they usually don't last much because if you play in a large group, the toast tend to break really fast. But it was an experience. It was really fun.
it's a great thing for the kids. It's just a special event.
Okay, thank you very much from the deepest of my heart. I really much thank you. This project without you also won't make good things. So thank you very much for participating, for donating, for being part of that, for encouraging, for keeping us as a team. So feel part of this project in one way or another way. Okay, thank you very much. Until next time, I hope to see you soon.
Thank you very
Thank you,
much.
Nilda.
Follow it please to my dear Diana and shop as much as you can. Get your present for Christmas. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you all so much. So I'm gonna turn off the camera. Please remain in this same Zoom call so that if you want to do some shopping.
Audio, video.
Welcome back. Okay, so right now we actually have one of our volunteers, Osvaldo, is gonna help me with the camera in the chat here. But for those of you that have come in the past, the store had a big change during the pandemic. So I just want to show you that really quick. So if you see over here, our new store has a new face. The weavers are still here, practicing their textiles and doing live demonstrations, but it's a little more organized. And you can also see more pictures from the communities and the weaving process. So we're just gonna walk around really quickly as to give you a small tour. So here we have some apparel, some clothing. We're gonna come back slower to